Peter here, aka Pure Freakout 10, bringing another episode of the Movie Review Show with the good movies always reviewed. Okay, back into the movie review today. And before I start, I just want to say, yes, I am using a new camera right now, and this is the camera I used for the past year before the summer, which I had to change over to this one because I used up the gigabytes on my phone, so I couldn't record anything for more than like 20 minutes. So, of course, I had to use this thing, which, to be honest, I like using this better because I feel like I get the videos come out better and everything. But either way, I'm still glad to be doing videos. But anyway, you want to get to the good stuff. We're continuing the second month of Scream Fest. Okay, now on today's episode, I'm continuing from a review that I did in the summer. And for those who don't know, over the summer, I did a review of a zombie movie that I think goes down as one of the greatest zombie movies ever made. And surprisingly, for those who don't know, this movie was actually based on a novel that was actually a sequel to the George A. Romero classic, Night of the Living Dead. Now, that film, there's no introduction to be made about that film, and there's no need to be talked about it. All you need to know is that a bunch of people are holed up in a house while the dead swarm around the area, all for one thing: brains. Yep. So, of course, they decided to continue the story, and someone decided I'll turn it into a movie out of nowhere. I'm not sure how, I'm not sure when. They just decided to turn it into a movie. But sadly, the guy who did this, Dan O'Bannon, had worked with George A. Romero on Night of the Living Dead, and the two had to part ways because George A. Romero went on to create the sequels to Night of the Living Dead, which can't beat that. While Dan O'Bannon brought us The Return of the Living Dead. Now, there's no introduction to be made about this film. This film, I always have to itch my nose when I do a review, but yeah, there is no introduction that needs to be made about this film. This film is awesome. It has a great cast. Clu Gallagher, James Karen, Gon Calfa, Linnea Quigley, and Tom Matthews, who you might know from Friday the 13th Part 6, Jason Lives. He was Tommy. Jason, come on! It's me you want! That kid. But yeah, definitely well done, definitely well made. It's a different take on the whole zombie aspect, whereas the other zombie films just go through the same routine of just slash them and kill them and everything. This takes more of a different approach where you can't kill them no matter what. So that was definitely different. And I definitely think this film was well done. Definitely well made. Definitely different. And it's definitely bloody, too. If you're a gorehound, this is definitely a movie that needs to be seen for blood or gore or anything. But overall, this is just a great movie. And plus, you get to look at the lovely Linnea Quigley full frontal nude. So if you're a pervert, here you go. But definitely a great film. If you guys want to see a full-out review of that film, definitely check out my channel and review of it. But all that's not important. After that success with that film, which was surprising, seeing as how it was serving more as a sequel without the help of George A. Romero, someone decided, hey, just because it's a sequel, that doesn't mean it can't have its own franchise. So, of course, in 1987, we got Return of the Living Dead Part 2. Now, Return of the Living Dead Part 2 was made in 1987, as I said, and when I heard about this film, the first thing that I think kind of turned me off from it was Ken Wiederhorn, who, for those who don't know, Ken Wiederhorn directed Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare. Wait a minute. He didn't direct Freddy's Dead. He directed Freddy's Nightmare. I don't know what that is even. But I thought it was Freddy's Nightmare. It was something else. Yeah, but he also directed Eyes of a Stranger. I take that back. I didn't know anything about him. I thought it was him who directed Freddy's Dead, but it's actually someone else. But yeah, but yeah. Other than that, take that back. But other than that, when I first heard about this sequel, a lot of people seem to spin on it, say bad stuff about it, and really just don't like this film at all. And I've seen people lambaste the film. I've seen people really go as far as to really just say it's one of the worst zombie films ever, which I gotta say, I know it's gonna sound crazy, but I actually love the sequel. I actually really do enjoy it. That being said, I'm not sure whether I like it better than this one or this one better, but they're both good in their own way because they're both trying to be something. So overall, it's definitely something. So I don't need to compare it, but as I said, made in 1987, directed by Ken Wiederhorn. How was it? I thought it was Freddy's Dead. How did like that happen? But anyway, the film stars James Karen, who plays a character in this film that makes fun of his character from the first film, which I was actually kind of laughing at. You got Tom Matthews, who also plays a character that makes fun of his character from the first film. You got Dana Ashbrook, Marcia Dietline, Philip Burns, Michael Kenworthy, and Thor Van Bijen. I don't know who that even is, but I'll get into why I really enjoy this film later. But anyway, the basic plot of the film is basically this. It starts off where the first one ended. And I'm not giving any year because they don't say that. They don't explain when and how long this was since the first one. They don't give a time lapse or anything. They just said they don't even explain that it's even in the place where the first one was. Sure, there are some people that say not again, but there's no mention of the events of the first film. So there's no connection between this or this one. So they pretty much they don't throw it out. They kind of just ignore it and just deal with someone else. But still try to make it a sequel and try to connect it. But basically at the beginning of the film, we see the army transporting this toxin. And on the way there, one of them is listening to heavy metal, and pretty much out of nowhere, the strap that is holding the toxin breaks, and the containers holding the toxins break and fall down into the water. And one of them pretty much lands on the shore. Well, I would say shore because it lands in like a tunnel, but anyway, we cut to this kid named Jesse, played by Michael Kenworthy, who basically wants to fit in with these other two kids named Billy and some other kid. And at the beginning of the film, we see him actually get into the group, and pretty much when he gets in there, they are pretty much walking around the cemetery playing and such. Did some spit fly out or something? I don't know. But they're pretty much walking around the cemetery, and they find the container in that area. Yeah. And pretty much Jesse tries to convince them not to play with them, and they pretty much see the body, and for some reason they feel the need to lock this kid away, like he's gonna tell on them. Like, it'd be better if they told on them, like they're like, oh, don't tell on us. Like, you could win millions of dollars for finding this thing. I don't know why you would tell them not to tell. Like, I'd be going to tell immediately. Like, what the heck is wrong with this kid? Think of what you could do if you found that. But anyway, being the stupid ones, they decide to mess with the thing, and the kid pretty much ingests the toxins. And the toxins, once again, go to the cemetery where there's like these two guys played by James Karen and Tom Matthews who are basically playing characters that, as I said, are making fun of their characters from the first movie. And pretty much at the beginning, we see them pretty much grave robbing, and pretty much, once again, the toxins get into them. And pretty much Jesse, who tells them, Jesse, who tells his sister, pretty much, well, I wouldn't say he tells her at first, because he decides to put it off to the side, but he decides to go back and try to figure out what the heck is going on after he sees, like, Billy is, well, the bully who told him not to tell her anything is sick and everything. He decides to go back and investigate at the cemetery. And he finds out that the dead have risen. So pretty much he goes back to the house, tries to convince everybody, and pretty much out of nowhere the dead come around, and they decide to team up with the grave robbers and pretty much fight back, along with a TV repairman who comes in at the last minute out of nowhere. So, will the group be able to survive another onslaught of zombies? Or will they be the next one to have the buffet, to be on the buffet of brains? I love doing that. The Return of the Living Dead 2, I think, is a great sequel. Now, the movie is a little bit different from the tone of this movie. Whereas this movie tries to be more serious, but also tries to squeeze in some comedy elements. This one, I think, tries to add a touch of horror elements, but it really kind of delves more into a comedy and parody. Along the lines of something like Brain Dead, or, as I like said in my review, Dead Alive, some other stuff, but yeah. And to tell you the truth, I like this change. Sure, I like it. I kind of like it better this way, but I think they did it really well. I think they really, really tried to do something new, and I think it really paid off. And I think people were too harsh on it, because I could definitely see it is trying to be a parody. It is trying to make fun of the first one, and at times it was actually pretty funny. There were times when I was kind of laughing at it. Like, I love the scene with the chopped off head and the zombie. Don't do that. And, like, some of those scenes were actually pretty funny. And for some reason, they add a Michael Jackson zombie. I'm not joking with you. There's a scene where we see Michael Jackson as a zombie. Like, he's getting electrocuted. He's, like, doing, like, moonwalk or something. Not really good with it, but still, I really do like the change of the film. And I do think that it does a good job trying to keep up with the tone that made the first one so good. But still, at least, I wouldn't say at least try, because they're definitely not trying here. They're trying to be their own film. But just try to bring in viewers into the sequel and make them see a new light of genre in a sequel, which is basically what they did with Freddy, and I can definitely see what they're doing with this one. But the story was really well done, and one thing I do enjoy about the sequel is, in this one, it was kind of set. The first one felt more like it was in like a small area. This one, that's like a bigger area from like the suburban area, and then it goes into like the town and everything. I thought those scenes were actually really, really well done, and definitely really stepped up the setting, and I thought it was definitely a lot cooler seeing the city and everything. Sure, it's been done to death, but the first one, it felt more conjoined into one space, and it was more capturing Night of the Living Dead and such. This one, I think, goes more towards like Dawn of the Dead, and kind of steps up the setting to more like Day of the Dead, or something a little different. Or even Land of the Dead. And at the time, there wasn't really that much. Like, sure, we've had, like, zombies in the mall and such, but technically they were in the world. But they really did go into it as, George A. Romero did go into it as much as, like, be them being in the mall, because the entire movie was set at the mall. So, of course, they're gonna be. Of course, they wanted to do something different, but still, overall, I thought it was a good change. I do like the comedy aspect of it. I don't mind it, and I still think it's all really well done. So, definitely, while the tone it doesn't know what it wants to be. Like does it want to be a comedy or does it want to be horror? I still had some fun with it for what it was doing and the progress that it did make. So, yeah. And the acting in the film is really solid as well. I like the Tom Matthews, how he was making fun of himself. I definitely thought those scenes were actually pretty funny. How he was picking on a character that he played in the first one. And I definitely do like the parts where he's turning into a zombie and he's in the hospital. Like, he's like this with his hands and he's like, "Ah, it hurts." Like, some of those scenes kind of copied the first one, but which is something that a lot of people complain about. But as Rob Rant said, they were making fun of it, and it is easy to see what they were doing, and it is easy to see that they were making fun of it. So, yeah. But I think the one big advantage that this film has is I like the kid. Michael Kenworthy, I think, does a good job in this film. I thought he was really likable. And to tell you the truth, he does more than his sister. Like, there's one point in the film where she actually shoots a zombie. And there's actually a point where, as Billy, the bully of his that told him not to tell, basically becomes a zombie. And he kicks the living heck out of him. Literally, he kicks the living heck out of him. And he even has a good comeback, too. So, this kid is awesome. There's also a point where he carries a gun. So, yeah. This kid's actually pretty cool. Like Dana Ashbrook, Marcia Dietland do a good job. And overall, the acting is really well done. Definitely has some really well done jobs in the film. Also, at times, some of the characters are pretty funny, but they also are idiots at times. It is easy to see that. But still, overall, definitely really well done acting. Definitely some really well done action scenes too. But the one thing I do gotta say is the effects. The effects are really well done. They're definitely bloody. Kenny Myers does the effects in the film, and I don't know who did the effects in. I could be forgetting who did the effects in the first one. Who did the effects? It doesn't say. But I thought the effects of this one were really well done. And I looked up on IMDb. They said this movie was tame. What? This movie's gory. But it's definitely well done. It's definitely bloody. There are some good gore scenes in it. It definitely has some unique twist to it, and the gore is top notch. Don't listen to IMDb. IMDb are freaking morons when it comes to parental guides and such. But still, overall, the effects are really well done. They're definitely bloody. They're definitely well thought out, and I like the fact that in this one, like with the other ones when they shoot him in the head, it's like boom, like red and such. This one, they kind of added more of green goo and such, and that was kind of different. That was actually kind of cool. I do like that change in the aspect of it and everything. So overall, really, really enjoyed that. I thought that was really well done. And yeah, the effects of this film were really well done. I definitely like some of the scenes with the zombies and such. I like that one zombie that comes back. Brains! I like the Michael Jackson zombie. That scene was funny. So, overall, this sequel is not a bad sequel, and I think it's one of the most hated sequels out there, probably up there with Jurassic Park 3, Alien 3, Predator 2, what else is there that's hated? American Werewolf in Paris, all of which get hate, and I think this is one of them. So, I definitely really enjoy this film, but I do say it's a must-watch. But It does have one problem, and this is a problem that I do say kind of affects the film, and to me, no, wait, thinking about it, it really does. Like, it doesn't share any continuity with the first one, because you're advertising this as a sequel. And if you're going to do a sequel, at least make it connect to the first one. But this movie has no connection to the first one in any shape or form. But still, just because it says not again doesn't mean it's a sequel. But still, overall, Return of the Living Dead 2 is a great sequel. If you want something, if you want a great zombie movie, definitely check this out. Different, it's fun, and it's definitely a well-made sequel. If you, I'm not saying I like it better than this movie. I like them both the same, but really, still, I definitely recommend you check out that Return of the Living Dead Part 2. It's a fun cheese fest that I think anybody will enjoy. So, overall, I give Return of the Living Dead Part 2 an 8 out of 10. The same rating I gave the first one. See, guess how I like them both in their own ways, and I like them both the same. There's no need to say which one's the better. But still, definitely check out Return of the Living Dead Part 2. If you like the first one or you like Night of the Living Dead, you're really going to like this sequel. But that is my review for Return of the Living Dead Part 2. And next time I'm going to do a review on Creepshow. I've been wanting to review this for a while, and I'll be sure to tell you what I think of it. And then I have a review of The Crow, then Hellbound Hellraiser 2, and then Nightbreed. Heck yeah. But I'll see you guys later. Tell me what you guys think of Return of the Living Dead 2 in the comments below. And be sure to rate, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.